The animated event of the year, Happily Ever After. Fairy tales for every child.
I'm alive!
What's up?
4 classic fairy tales, retold for every family.
It's showtime. Put him on my nose.
What a snot!
The critics agree. Smart, funny, and thoroughly entertaining.
Yes!
Gives these tales a fresh new look. Don't miss them. And the Hollywood Reporter says, delightful, hip, and sparkling. An imaginative boost to an old standard.
Oh, yeah.
Other stars include Heavy D, Richard Lewis,
Gotta run.
Della Reese, Sinbad,
Me!
and Jimmy Smits.
Let the party begin!
Experience the magic, the adventure, and the music. Happily Ever After. Fairy tales for every child. Only from HBO Kids Video.
Nice mini, take it.
I'm on my fifth crew, and my rinse too.
Happily Ever After, Fairy Tales for Every Child, is an animated anthology series from the 90s, airing on HBO Family and HBO Kids and other blocks associated, like Jam or Magnet. My memory with this show is a little spotty. I didn't have cable for most of my childhood, and whenever we did get it, it wouldn't last long. Or we got the package that didn't have HBO. I used to think that HBO and Stars was one of those channels that only rich people had, so whenever we did get it, I was hyped. Besides watching some of my favorite movies, I really only checked out HBO for Crashbox reruns. But every now and then, if I got lucky, I would catch one of the reruns of Happily Ever. This show was kinda like an enigma to me. For years, I didn't even know the name of it, and whenever I did remember it, I had no way to look it up. This is one of those shows I feel that has been lost and forgotten to time. So let's take a look back and see what exactly was going on Happily Ever After. So I always thought this was an all-black show, but nah. These stories are told by different cultures and backgrounds, which help provide a new perspective in their storytelling and overall message. All episodes were narrated by Robert Guillaume, the same guy who voiced Rafiki in The Lion King. It was also directed by Bruce W. Smith, the same guy who created The Proud Family. This show had a very distinct look. I like it a lot. It has an aesthetic of a fairy tale book come to life. I rock with the animation. Its warped age textures add to the charm of the show. Some episodes are a bit more lively than others, but overall I didn't mind it. The writing is pretty good. It has more character than most of the other kids shows, especially the ones dealing with fairy tales. It's charming, witty, and hella funny. The humor in this show is underrated, and so is the voice cast. Some of the names they got for this show is kind of amazing. It was great to see that there were so many people who wanted to be a part of this. You love to see it. But by far, the best quality of the show for me is the music. It has a very distinct sound and flavor.
Turn a nightingale to stone. I'm a hoodoo diva.
Should I play the fool, Shakespearean no less, and try to make her laugh like a happy guest?
Though I will say, I was kinda disappointed in the theme song. This show has a lot of great music, and I expected to hear some of that in the intro. It's not terrible, just underwhelming. Going into this, the only episode I remember was King Midas and the Golden Touch. And I say remember loosely, it's mostly just fragments of different scenes or colors. And one of my favorite colors is gold, so there's that. But throughout the episode, it was slowly coming back to me. If you haven't heard the story or seen that Family Guy episode,
Brian, this is a disaster. I turned everyone into Robin Williams. You gotta help me.
Yo, Peter G, what's happening, dawg?
King Midas is a king with an obsession with gold. So much so that he makes a dumbass wish so that everything he touches turns to gold. Homie was so obsessed, he had a pleasure room dedicated to it. He might even love it more than his daughter.
If you were on a sinking ship with me and a bag of gold, you could only save one thing. Which would you save? Your own flesh and blood or the gold?
I am thinking.
Damn, nigga.
Also, before this, his soldiers returned with a bunch of gifts, and one of them was the water from the Fountain of Youth. Homie could have lived forever, but nah, give me that yellow stuff. Crazy work. His wish would ultimately backfire because now he can't eat food and can no longer hold his own child.
No! Oh my God, my Shayla.
This was a dumbass wish. I mean, genuinely, why the hell would you want everything you touch gold? I mean, at least be able to turn it off. And you know what's funny? Even the diva was like, bro, you sure about this? Like, this wasn't a Dr. Facilier situation. Homie wasn't tricked. He chose this, practically begged for it.
I must have the golden touch.
This episode had a solid voice cast. King Midas is voiced by Blair Underwood. That's the guy that played Gritball and Lost. His servant was voiced by Carlton Banks, and Jennifer Holliday voiced the Dream Diva. So yeah, overall, this was a solid episode. Now here's one I've never heard of, The Bremen Town Musicians from 1999. It's about this washed up dog pursuing a career as a musician in Bremen Town. On her journey, she meets a bunch of different characters all wanting the same dream, on some Wizard of Oz type shit.
And Dorothy, you wanted herpes, but little did you know, you've had herpes all along.
I didn't want herpes.
Oh. Well, you've got it.
This was a fun watch, and honestly one of the funniest episodes I've seen.
Girl, you need to get your singing career going on. Nobody in Bremen wants to see some old donkey looking like she's got a bad weave.
I like how loose and expressive the animation is. It was a welcome change coming from one of the older episodes. Though with that said, I kind of miss the aesthetic of the backgrounds in some of the older episodes. I felt they had a bit more character. Though to be fair, it might not have meshed well with this style of animation. The best part of the episode is by far the music. Every song slaps.
I know that we've done what it takes, and I can't wait. Gonna make it big in Bremen Town. When you see us on the stage, we'll be getting down.
The voice cast really brings this episode to life. Hazel is voiced by Jennifer Lewis, and she's my favorite character. She's so entertaining and just brings such a fun vibe to the episode.
Everybody listen up. Listen up. I got a plan. And trust me, honey, it ain't singing for our supper.
Chocolate the Donkey is voiced by Gladys Knight. Why they named the donkey Chocolate? Miss Kitty is voiced by Dionne Warwick, and Scratchmo is voiced by George Clinton. Also, Marlon and Shawn Wayans were the villains, and no surprise, they were the best part of the show for me.
Don't you mean Gesundheit? No, I actually meant shut up, stupid! You sneeze again, I'll rip your nose off and throw it down the street.
Oh shit.
What more could I say? Great animation, great music, a stellar cast. I highly recommend this one.
HBO Family.
The Fisherman and His Wife is another story I've never heard of. This one in particular takes a Latino spin on the tale.
Oh, how I love Tina, the queen of my heart. Que triste me siento when we are apart.
I thought the fisherman and his wife being in love was fun and endearing, even if no one else around them did.
Listen to that fisherman and his wife.
All they do is sing day and night.
Ay, what a racket.
Shut up, you ugly!
After saving a magic fish, he gifts him a wish. The fisherman asks for a new dress for his wife, which she loves. It does that cool moving pattern thing from Chowder. But over time, she asks for more and more, and eventually asks to become queen of the world. Soon after, she becomes mad with power. The fisherman goes back to the fish and laments about what his wife has become, just to find out that all they needed was each other. Now, this is a very sweet episode. I like this more than I thought I would. The fisherman was voiced by Edward James Olmos from Stand and Deliver. Another one of those movies I felt every teacher had in their desk. Gilbert, the magic fish, voiced by Pablo Rodriguez, was my favorite. Homie was hella funny.
I like to think
this opportunity right now that everybody's listening to let you know that leave us fish alone. Why can't you? Aren't there enough animals you can eat up there? Ya cállate, empieza a comer caballos, empieza a comer gordos, empieza a comer. Besides, the Japanese have the market corner. They got gill netting. And it's not politically correct for you to eat tuna anymore because the dolphins are getting caught, all right?
This is another episode with some dope music. Be careful what you fish for is low-key a bop.
Be careful what you fish for, man. Beware where you look. Take care that what you wish for don't snag you in its hook.
Rumpelstiltskin is one of my favorite fairy tale characters. Now, to be fair, this is mostly because of how he was portrayed in Once Upon a Time and Shrek the Third.
Nobody smart but me!
So when I saw they did an episode telling his story, I was already semi-interested. In an attempt to impress the king, the miller lies and says that his daughter can spin straw into gold.
Well, my daughter Jonay can spin straw into gold.
Impressed but a little skeptical, the king calls for the girl, locks her in a tower filled with straw, and demands she spins this straw into gold by morning or she'll never get out of here. Why he wouldn't just stay and watch her do it is beyond me, but whatever. But just when things seem hopeless, she hears someone.
Who is it? Who's there?
Somebody who cares.
This is genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Why did he appear like that? Mouth all open and shit? Smell like a Waffle House sink. And then he goes into a whole song and dance like he didn't just give us the biggest jump scare. Also, you can't tell me this nigga doesn't look like Dr. Carver.
My name is Carver, y'all.
He's honestly the best thing about the episode. Homie is hilarious. I love his design. Some of these stills had me in tears. He's not even doing anything, but every time they cut to him, he's just making a different silly ass expression.
You're such a fool. You try and you miss. Now watch I win. You can't touch this. In 3 days.
Huh? Think of a dream, Lord. Not only was this episode great, the voice cast was top tier. The daughter was played by Jasmine Guy from A Different World. The miller was voiced by Sherman Hemsley from The Jeffersons.
Well, I guess that leaves you and me.
Yeah, it's been a bad night all around, ain't it?
Rumpelstiltskin is voiced by Robert Townsend, and King Omar is voiced by Denzel Washington. I never knew he did voice work. This is dope as hell.
Friar, I wanted to tell you that you were right. There is a wealth greater than gold.
Next on Magnet, Crash Box.
Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
HBO had an underrated children's block. They had a lot of innovative and creative shows that went above and beyond the basics, and Happily Ever After is no different. If you haven't seen it, it's currently streaming on Max. Get it while you can. It had a lot of charm and heart, a great voice cast, stellar music. Honestly, I'll be down if they brought this back with a new generation of actors. Happily Ever was an ambitious show in its own right, a show dedicated to representation. Telling these stories through the eyes of different cultures and people gives them an entirely new perspective while making sure everybody watching can see themselves in these characters, giving every child their own fairy tale. Happily Ever After was great, and I'm glad I'm doing my part to make sure this show and its message is never forgotten. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it.